Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening here in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patten. It's a pleasure to welcome you back here as we come into the month of June, and summer has already sprung, evidently, and so hot weather, graduations, and the orchards in the city are starting to bloom and get ready for a busy year this year. So I'm happy to introduce my guest today is Todd Larocque from Carter Hill Orchard. And between Todd and his dad, Rob, they've been on the show quite a bit in the last few years, and I'm always happy to have them on because, well, Todd, you can see, he's all tanned up there, come back from Florida, but how are things up the orchard?
Good. We just had just finished bloom on the apples. Blueberries are in bloom right now, so apples look good, and the blueberries look real good. So it's coming along right now.
No, somebody I was talking to recently, I don't know who, he's from East Concord, said that he thought it was going to be a bad year for apples because of the winter.
No.
So you think it's going to be a good year?
Looking fairly good right now. Still got the summer to go through and everything, but right now it looks pretty good.
Now you've got strawberries, not strawberries, blueberries up there.
We got blueberries. Yeah, we'll start blueberries hopefully around in July, mid-July.
How many bushels or whatever those do you have?
Oh, we get about an acre and a half of blueberries.
Yeah.
So there's plenty to pick. Plenty of picking up there.
We used to pick those years ago, and oh brother, we'd watch out for bees' nests in the ground, or hornets or whatever. It's like
lots of bending over.
Oh yeah, yeah, it would. And of course, if you could get some nice big blueberries, you could fill up a thing. But if you got
the small one, it takes forever.
It took forever to get them.
These usually first pickings are usually the best because they're bigger. As it gets later in the season, they get a little smaller.
What is the difference? And now every so often, I've seen regular blueberries, I recall. Then you see some like them a little bit darker blueberries, almost like a not really a blackberry, but almost like a
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are just riper.
They are.
The darker they are, the riper they are.
Oh, okay.
And the lighter, as they get more ripe, they turn darker blue, almost like a black sometimes.
But I love fresh blueberries. Those are good. Of course, strawberries you don't do those.
We don't do strawberries, no.
But peaches you do though.
Peaches we do, yeah. But this year it doesn't look like there's any peaches around the state.
Really?
They got frozen out. They think around Valentine's night they got 15, 20 below, and it froze all the buds and killed them all. So we got 6 acres of peaches, and there wasn't a single flower on any of the trees.
Yeah.
So.
But isn't that early to bud though at that time for peaches?
Well, it wasn't necessarily they were budding. It's just it was warm. And they started to swell a little bit, and then it got real cold.
Yeah.
And it froze them right in the tree, and so they were dead before the spring even hit. So there's supposedly no peaches from here down to through Massachusetts down into Rhode Island. There's going to be a very small crop.
So that'll be expensive this year then.
Yeah.
Native peaches.
No native peaches.
And that was what was so discouraging because even with the maple syrup season, I mean, they had trees that were tapping in January, and they never tap in January.
No, that was the problem. It was just warm enough to get it flowing.
Oh,
It slowed down, and then it picked up again.
Even flowers. Excuse me. Perennials. I mean, my perennials were budded in the middle of. They never bud in the middle of March.
No, you don't want them to go that early because that's when it gets cold again. That's when they die.
Yeah.
It still gets cold at night.
I mean, there were not many what they call the forsythia bushes this year either.
Nope. Those are usually the first to bloom. You didn't see many of those this year.
Nope. I think I had maybe 2 branches of them, and that was it.
Yeah. Just that warm winter and not much snow cover to insulate stuff and
it was just utterly crazy.
Yeah.
So the apples, though, you said the apple trees didn't get really affected.
No, they still looks like a pretty good crop, but still a long ways to go through fall. I mean, still get good hail or bad weather, so you still got a ways to go before we know for sure. Won't know till you start picking them.
Now I noticed you put up. I was up riding up the other day, bring you a plaque because you wanted you as a young farmer of the year. But I noticed you got like 1 or 2 rows down on the road there It's like they're new trees. They're dwarf trees.
Dwarf
or
trees,
what,
yeah.
what are they?
Those are some honey crisps. Behind the house, we put in another 1,000 trees of Cortlands.
Oh my
Put another
gosh.
1,000 trees of honey crisp out in the middle section. Every couple of years, we pull out some old trees and plant some new ones.
Really?
And be all the dwarf size now that
Hmm.
don't grow as tall, easy to take care of.
Hmm.
That's what most people have been putting in now for trees, the dwarfs.
Yeah. And then, of course, where it used to be, your boundary line used to go right down to that other road there.
Mhm.
See, there are some trees on those houses there. They've left them.
And they've left them, yep.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how they used to go that far down?
Yep, that was another 10 acres right there. That was
Whose decision was that to sell that off or something? Was that
the previous owner, Sonny Chris. They
they did?
subdivided some land.
That was the one that did.
Yep.
That's too bad.
Yep.
But now the farm itself is going to open up. What,
We'll open up mid-July. Once the blueberries are ready, we'll have a better idea beginning of July. But once the blueberries are ready, we'll open up blueberry picking. And then,
Yeah, what, to about
We'll
December
have-
23rd or so.
yep. And then we'll go through December, and we'll start with blueberries and get corn and tomatoes and vegetables in as they come available. And apples start usually around third week of August. Start pick your own around Labor Day through Columbus Day or so.
Hmm.
So we'll
Wow.
slowly get into it. It's
What do you do? Like, I mean, I know, every year you have that one section of the store or the barn. It's always full of crafts and jellies and jams and all that. What happens to that? Do you empty all that out and then bring it back in
Yep,
again? Or
yeah.
what do you do?
Most all the jams and jellies we either if it's not sold we'll donate it to some food pantries or something like that. And
Oh, okay.
so then get started for fresh with everything new.
Oh,
All the knick-knack holiday stuff we can pack up and
yeah.
put back out for next year. But anything usually left over, we'll donate. That's not going to last through the winter. We'll donate to soup kitchens and food pantries around the area.
Mm.
The apples we get left, we'll pack apples usually to February or so, depending on how many apples we have. Selling wholesale to stores and make cider. So
Oh, yeah.
we have a spot for the apples for a while.
Mm.
So this year we went through. We got done packing and making cider end of February.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Now it depends how big the crop is and what you have for apples. So
Yeah.
last year was a record-breaking crop, so we had a lot of apples to
Mm.
pack and grind.
Yeah, you did have.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
How many did you ship out?
Oh, 10,000 bushels. Yeah.
Now, when I asked about, when I say ship out, I'm talking like you shipped out to other states, or are these like the gift packages? You don't do
We
gift packages?
that's to stores or schools
Oh,
or
okay.
stuff like that. Wholesale out to other farm stands, supermarkets,
Mm.
colleges, private schools, public schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good year last year.
Yeah,
I remember
it
that.
was.
I had some nice big apples. I remember that.
Yep. Everyone had a good crop last year. There was a lot of
Mm.
apples.
Are you going to still do the vegetables like I know a friend of mine bought 2 big bags of squash last year.
Yep,
Winter squash.
we're actually we got a 12-acre field in East Concord that we put squash and pumpkins on, so we've been working on that this week. We got about that half planted with pumpkins and sugar pumpkins and squash and some vegetables.
Hmm.
So we'll be done that next 2 days, planting all that.
Gee.
But it takes a while.
Oh yeah, I'm
gotta
sure it does.
Get the land ready, and then gotta plant it all, and then go back and hoe it and weed it, and
Yeah.
so yeah, we had a good pumpkin and squash crop last year too. We had a whole lots of those.
Hmm.
So
Boy, this doesn't seem possible though. You think at the winter months, and then all of a sudden you got to be really planning. Now you don't put out a catalog of any kind, do you?
no, we don't.
So that's
No,
good there.
We,
But you and your donuts, I know that.
on donuts, we'll start donuts back up in probably end of July, and
Yeah, and
you
your
know,
mother with her cookies.
my mother's with her cookies and pies.
Yeah.
That'll start up probably mid-July or so. probably shortly after we open up.
When do you bring the workers in?
No, we got four veg makers came in 2 weeks ago now to help
Really?
us get everything going. Yeah, it's just too much work with 2 people. You need extra help, so they came in about 2 weeks ago, and they've been going through and planting vegetables for us, and planting the pumpkins and squash, and getting stuff ready.
Yeah.
You know, they're eager to come back
I'm sure.
to work and
Yeah.
make some money, and
And you have what, another 8 or so that come in more?
we get 2 more in August.
Two
So
more.
we get six guys in all. Been the same guys for the last 10 or 15 years now. So
Really?
yep, we've got 2 that have been with us for probably close to 30 years, and
Oh my gosh.
so it's try to get the same guys every year. Just makes it easier for everyone.
Does your dad look forward to it every year though?
Oh yes, that's what he lives for. You know,
Yeah.
he's done it his whole life, and he'll die doing it probably. So everyone says, when's he gonna retire? He'll never retire. You know.
Oh, I know.
He just
Well,
he likes doing it. He likes to do it, and he enjoys it. So he might as well keep doing it.
Have you ever thought of having a mini farm up there, as far as like a mini farm?
As far as animals and stuff.
Yeah, like a what do you call it there?
Little petting zoo and
Yes,
everything?
yes, yes.
Now with new government regulations coming out for food safety and stuff, they like to keep any farm animals separate from any fruits and vegetables. So they just want everything separate. So we'll probably never bring in any
Oh,
animals
really?
like that. Yeah, they like everything separate. Hopefully no cross contamination of anything, and
Yeah.
just trying to keep everything safer from any foodborne illnesses. So
Because I was thinking all the kids that grow up there, boy, it'd be such a
yeah.
treat for them to see the cow or see a calf or something or whatever
Nope.
up there.
No animals. Makes everything easier too. Not, you know.
Did you have many damages this year from the bears or the moose or the deer?
No, luckily so far been pretty good. They've been around. They've gotten the bird feeders from the neighbors and stuff like that, but they've kind of stayed out so far.
And I don't understand that because I just picture a bear, especially a bear, wanting to eat more than bird food.
Well,
I don't get it.
it's something easy. They'll eat more than that. They smell it and they
I
come
don't-
and they get it and
Yeah.
make a big mess and move on.
I guess I'm always used to seeing the advertisements about bears eating honey or something like that,
Yeah.
but bird food, it doesn't
Bird
seem
food,
to go with the
their
mess.
diet changes as the food supply changes. You know, they eat what they can find. They'll
Yeah,
forage for whatever, and
sure.
bird food's easy, or
Mm.
whatever's out in the forest they eat. Deer go around, eat the young plants and grass and stuff, and
Now you're involved in the, at least I think you are, in the Merrimack County Farmers Group there. if I
Farm
remember
Bureau?
Right.
Yep.
Farm Bureau. What do you see? You've been brought up in farming, okay, evidently with your dad. Do you see us at a point where there's more farms coming into existence, or are we on the decline still?
I don't think you see necessarily more farms. I mean, there's only so much land out there. You're not gonna make more land, so I think you're gonna see the amount of farms stay the same. I just think you see farms either coming together or just leasing more land from people, or it just goes in cycles. It changes. When someone gives up a piece of land, usually another farmer comes along and picks it up. Especially dairy farmers or people that do hay and corn. They're always looking for additional land to grow feed and stuff for their animals. Because there's never enough feed for the cows that are around. They're always looking for more. So if someone has a piece of land they're giving up, usually another farmer comes along and leases it or buys it or whatever from that next other person.
Because I often wonder what's going to happen over on East Side Drive, over there in East Concord, the old blood farm, because the owner there was from Canterbury, I believe. He passed away this last year, suddenly. And everybody's kind of wondering what's going to happen, because he was bringing back cows out there. I
Yep.
know that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard anything
I
that's going
haven't.
to happen?
I'm sure one of the dairy farmers are going to be out there trying to either lease it or do something with that land.
Because that was always so fun to see the cows
Yep.
out there. They had some big herds out
No,
there.
yeah, there's a lot of land there.
Then they tore it all down, and they tried to put houses, and that didn't work out. So
Yep, if I'm sure it'll be a field for hay or something for the next couple of years at least until.
yeah, but I like to see the animals out there.
Well,
But
you know,
I mean, that's what I'm
animals need to
saying.
eat too, so.
And that's what I'm saying, though, is as part of the Farm Bureau, are you seeing or hearing about more? There was a big decline there for a while, especially up in the northern section. There were some big farms up there that were giving up. They just couldn't make a go of it.
Yes, as you get north, it's harder to grow too. You get
Yeah.
to the colder climate up there. It's a shorter growing season, but
But do you think that we're holding our own?
I think we're holding our own. There's been several new young guys taking over some farms, some people that want to retire and making a good go at it. And
I mean, you know,
really-
people take it for granted on their food, you know, where it's coming from. But yet, you know, if we don't have some of these farm things.
oh, if you don't have the farms, you have no food.
That's right.
You know, so
Exactly. You know?
yeah, I think you'll always have someone out there that wants to do it. There's always those couple that are really into it, that maybe they grew up in it and are coming back after college, or they found an opportunity. They were out in the workforce a little while and decided that the parents were either retiring or they heard of someone retiring on a farm and they're going to take it over from them.
Sure.
It's really comes down to if the farmer's retiring, if he can let it go for a reasonable price as a farm, or he wants to sell the land as housing. You know, and that's where it comes down to, is if they want the money for the housing, then the farm's going to go away because
Oh yeah.
a farmer can't buy it as the value of a house land
Well,
lot.
I know it. It's
You know,
sad.
they got to buy it as a value of what a farm's worth. So it's a big quandary farm what to do.
I mean, the days of like the old TV show, The Waltons, there when they had all their farming and stuff. I mean, it seems like it's gone by with.
Well, you know,
But it seems like though it's like specialty type farming now or something. I mean, you know, you don't the traditional beef or dairy or goats or whatever or pig farming. I mean,
there's still quite a few. There's quite a few beef producers in the state.
Yeah.
If you look, there's quite a few around. There's one in Loudon, one up in Warner. I mean, there's several around.
we've seen a decrease though. I mean, although I should say not decrease, but it seems like for a while there was an increase in chicken farming.
Yeah, chickens are becoming
God,
big.
chickens were everywhere.
They're they're easy to raise, kind of. People put them in the backyards. Think it's an easy thing.
But I don't see so much anymore around Concord as there was for a while.
Well,
For a while, people were having them everywhere.
they're having them everywhere. Then they find, the foxes and stuff come around, and they like to
Yeah.
find an easy snack. And it does take a little work, and you got to pick up the eggs every day and wash them and clean them. And
Yeah.
but there's still quite a few fairly good sized chicken guys around doing eggs, local
Really?
fresh eggs. Yeah, a lot of farm stands you go into have fresh local eggs from chicken farms around to buy. Local beef, local milk. Several dairy farms do local milk around here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I got the Bartlett farm over there on
Bartlett,
Loudon
you can
Road.
get Bohannon does milk.
Yeah.
There's several others in the state that still processing milk and selling it locally in the glass bottles like it used to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. I
Yeah.
see it every so often. Yeah.
Yep.
But you, of course, again, back to you and your orchard, though. I didn't mean to get off on the wrong track there a little bit, but you've got apples. That's the biggest thing you've got.
Apples. Yep. Usually apples are our biggest, and usually peaches if we had any, but we don't have any peaches this year.
I know. I still
Yeah.
can't get over that.
Yeah.
But you're right. The weather was
Yeah,
crazy.
we have 40 acres of apples roughly, 6 acres of peaches, and about 2 acres of blueberries. Then we have some plums and pears
Wow.
mixed in there, and
That's right. You do plums, I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
we have some
that's
plum
right.
trees and some pears, and then we got a 12-acre piece that we plant pumpkins and sugar pumpkins and squash on, and then we get some vegetables we do. So we got a little diverse, a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
Just
Yeah.
keep it different.
But it's always been the place to go, though, in a way, for the ride, take the ride up there. You
Yeah.
know, I know, like I said before, my folks have always enjoyed that. Before my mother passed, they always used to like riding up by there, and
Yep, always nice view up there. You can go in the fall. They get the Audubon's up there counting the hawk migration, so you can go watch the birds migrate with them if you want.
Really?
Yeah. Count the birds as they fly south for the winter.
Hmm.
So a lot of people like doing that.
Now you said you planted some new apples this year.
Yep.
Did you bring back any old ones?
No, we've been planting mostly. Planted some more Cortlands. A lot of Honeycrisp for pick your own. People like Honeycrisp. McCowans.
Yeah.
Some more Galas. Some varieties that people like to pick a lot.
I never hear about them. You see them in a store or something, but I'm still just Macintosh has been my big thing.
Macintosh is the New England staple. That was a big New England apple, Macintosh. But now with so many farms going pick your own and stuff, people want the other varieties too. But the old heirloom ones, you still get people that like them, but they're not as popular as they.
What's that now? What ones are those?
Oh, the Spies, the Baldwins.
Yeah, Northern like Spy. That was one. Baldwin.
Spencer's.
Never heard of that one.
Yep. It's just.
Of course, the old favorite one my grandmother always had was Gravenstein.
Gravenstein, one of the first tart, green and tart.
God, that was always.
They liked them for their pies.
Yes, that's what she used to make them
for their
pies.
They made the best pies, they'd say. They came out in August, and they weren't good for much, really.
But you don't have any trees left up there?
We don't.
We used to have one or two, I thought.
We used to have one or two, but now with taking down some of the old trees, they got taken out and replanted with some new, better stuff that's a little sweeter and people like more now.
Really? Gala, that's one that I don't ever hear. It's Empire.
Empire, yeah.
Fuji,
yeah.
Where's that from?
Fuji's a Japanese apple.
It is.
Yeah.
Is it any good?
Yeah.
See, I'm not one that gets into Red Delicious. I never could eat them.
No, those are the worst. Those are the worst apples out. They have no taste. They got nothing.
Yeah, and then you had the Golden Delicious.
And the Golden Delicious is a little better. At least they have some flavor and stuff. But the Red Delicious, I never thought had any good flavor.
I'm
not big on them.
I never liked them. And
they make good cider.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they grind up good for cider. But other than that, that's about all.
Then they used to have what they used to call a golden, like a banana tasting.
Yeah.
Was that true? A banana tasting apple
or
something? Really?
Yeah. I think it's called banana apple, actually. There's thousands of varieties out there. I mean, so there's crazy how many different varieties you can have.
Oh.
But we stick to about 12 of them, the popular ones that people like to buy, pick.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem possible because now the early Macs usually come on. Usually they're last of August, first of August, middle of August.
Middle of August. Usually between the 15th and 20th, we'll get what we call Paula Reds. They look similar to a Mac. A little tighter than Mac. They're pretty good eating for first couple weeks, and then the Macs will come on, and usually right around Labor Day. And then Galas and Cortlands, McCowans, Honeycrisps, Fuji's, the Delicious, Empires, then Matsus.
The who's?
The Matsus, the big green ones that look like a Granny Smith.
Oh, yes. The
about
Granny
the size of a softball.
Yeah, Granny Smith one,
They are good for a lot of people. They're good for baking pies still, just like Cortland.
Huh.
So.
Cortland, though, is an apple. Is a good eating apple too.
It's some people like it for eating, and other people dislike it for baking. It's really a personal preference.
It's almost like a Macintosh, but it's almost like a little bit not firmer, but
it holds up better if you bake with it. Holds up better for pies. And stuff. People like the firmness of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Macs make a good. Mark's good for applesauce and stuff like that. Crisp, but people like the Cortlands for the pies. Just for the flavor and they like the little firmness that keeps them in the pie.
Oh.
But everyone's a little different. Everyone has their own taste and what they like to put in them. Some people like to mix. Some people like to use the old Gravensteins, or everyone has a different thought of it.
I know it. What do you think the gardens on the whole this year? Do you think it's going to be a bad year for gardening, like cucumbers and all that?
I think right now it's looking pretty good. As long as it stays continually warm and we get a little rain once in a while, I think it'll be a pretty good season. It's just when you get to that real hot, dry time, it's
Yeah.
pretty hard. The weeds like to grow, and people kind of get tired of weeding, and the stuff starts to wilt. You didn't water enough.
I know. That's
If
like
you don't keep up with those weeds, they take over pretty quick.
Oh, I know.
That's the hard part. They don't mind. They like the hot, dry weather. They'll grow and grow. Unlike the plants, need a little water.
You ever get tired of it?
Oh, sometimes.
I mean, your dad obviously was brought up in it.
Yeah.
I mean, and to him that's been his life. But here, you're a young guy still.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like, oh gosh, I want to do something different with my
Well, I
life?
did something different for 15 years after college.
Yeah.
And I've only been back I grew up there, but I've only been back for 4 or 5 years now, doing it full time.
Really?
Yep. I worked in the hotel business for a while. I worked for a company shredding documents for a while. So I did other stuff before I came back, and it's pretty nice. You can kind of do what you want when you want.
Yeah.
And, there's only in the fall you got to be there all the time, but you get 6 months out of the year that's kind of quiet, and you have a free time. And
Now, do your kids, how old's your oldest one?
my son Parker's 9, and my daughter Eliana just turned 6.
Now, do you have nieces or nephews that are older than that?
No.
So they're the oldest.
They're the oldest in my
Do
family.
you think they're ever going to will take a big interest in the farming when it comes time?
Right now, my son and daughter seem to like it, but
Yeah.
they're still young. They're still
Yeah.
a long ways to go.
Yeah.
But hopefully, you always hope they are. That'd be the nice thing. You do
Well,
all that
yeah.
work and put all that money into it. That you'd hope one of them would like to take it over, or at least do something with it.
Yeah.
But my brother has 2 kids, but they're out in California, so who knows if they're ever going to move back this way. But
Yeah.
if my kids don't, maybe they'll want to.
Sure.
But yeah, the hope is someone will in the future.
Well, you think of all the farms that Concord used to have, and look what they're down to, basically. Big farms.
Big farms, well, yeah, like again, it's all came down to dollars.
Yeah.
They got offered some nice money to become houses, and
Yeah.
they had no one to leave it to, or no one wanted to take it over. So,
Sure.
I mean, can't fault them. It was they had an opportunity. They saw they did what they wanted to do. It was but yeah, they did have a lot of big. There's still quite a bit of open area in Concord that you're not seen as much around, but there's
I know.
there's quite a bit of land still open that you don't see and hear much about.
Well, I'll tell you, between the taxes and stuff, it makes you wonder, but it's too bad. But
Yeah, that's the hard part is being in Concord, the tax bills and the land can get kind of expensive.
Sure.
But
Well, we're coming to a close for Around Town. We've been sitting here talking with Todd Larocque about Carter Hill Orchard and getting ready for another busy season up there. And Todd, if they want to a group ever wants to arrange a time to have like a hayride up there, or a tractor ride, or a day at the orchard, do they contact you or your dad, or how do they do
can
that?
call the farm. The farm's number is 225-2625. Or the email address is carterhillapples@gmail.com.
Oh, okay.
So either one.
And so give them a call, and we're looking for that opening date in July.
Open the date in July. We'll post it on Facebook, and we'll probably have ads in the paper and stuff. But we'll get it out there. Usually,
Good.
first, second week of July. It all depends how Mother Nature works and how quickly the blueberries ripen.
There you go. Good. And to find out more of what's happening on the greater Concord area and watch more episodes, go to facebook.com/Concord Speaks and click on the like button. And with that in mind, I'm your host, Dick Patten, and a thanks to Ian Marx, my director, for getting this all set up on YouTube, because he has been busy working on that. And you can see it all again, plus on CCTV. So I'm your host, Dick Patten. Enjoy the day, enjoy the hot weather, and we'll see you soon.